Okay, would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Barnes?
Here.
Mr. Bowersox?
Here.
Ms. Chenoweth?
Present.
Mr. Lewis?
Here.
Mr. Roberts?
Here.
Mr. Smythe? Ms. Stevenson?
Present.
Mayor Pressing?
Here. First item, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, June 16th. Okay, motion by Stevenson, seconded by Lewis. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, that motion carries. Under additions to the agenda, item 2, under new business, Mr. Wakeland has withdrawn his request that was denied by the Plan Commission, and they would like a motion to refer this whole question back to the Plan Commission. Libby could explain it.
We passed out an email from Mr. Stanko explaining that the properties that are subject to the rezoning have changed, and in order to ensure that this can go back to the Plan Commission, we would like to obtain a motion from City Council asking for that to occur.
Okay.
Okay, motion by Stevenson,
Second.
seconded by Roberts. Any discussion?
Question.
Mr. Smythe.
Libby, and I don't know, I assume this property, with this accumulation of properties, is this now a sufficiently large size that Mr. Wakeland might be able to use the planned unit development approach to developing this property?
PUD only requires half an acre, so this is well beyond that. But usually it involves a cohesive kind of development with a lot of special features. So it's I think the goal here would be more traditional business zoning and business development, but that's something we can certainly explore with the applicant.
Okay, and yeah, I guess, and then the other thing I would ask that you look at too is potential of some kind of transition zoning too. If there's one zoning that's more appropriate on Lincoln Avenue, while a different zoning is more applicable on the back properties that butt against neighborhood houses. That'd be another area. That's why I brought up PUD, where you could build a transition in. So I would encourage something like that as well.
Okay, we have a motion by Stevenson, seconded by Roberts. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion carries. You can stay for the rest of the meeting if you like. Okay, under petitions and communications, Diana Visick.
I'm really not trying to make a career out of this. But I did want to bring up something I found a little disturbing. At the June 16th town board meeting, we were discussing the referendum question having to do with financial transparency. The wording of it was, shall Cunningham Township and the city of Urbana post on their websites all contracts and itemized expenses so the taxpayers can see how their money is being spent? Mayor Pressing asked if I would withdraw that from the June 30th meeting to allow the city to present their own plan for this. I agreed to do that as an act of good faith in return for the city's good faith. And it was decided at that meeting that the plan would be presented at, quote, the next meeting. The next meeting for the town board was tonight. Carol Elliott's plan was pretty nebulous. And what I have discovered is apparently there is no plan to be presented tonight from the city's point of view as to how they will post their financial information, and that I think Ron Eldridge isn't even here.
Well, if I could respond, I think that we're working on it, but I was not aware that you expected a report today.
It was said at the next meeting.
Yeah, I took it to be at the next committee meeting for the city part, which would be next week. and I would, right now
Because I called
request.
Phyllis to find out when was the next meeting, and the next
Okay,
meeting was...
if you were at a city committee meeting, then that would be correct, the next committee meeting, because we normally discuss works in progress at the committee meeting.
Yeah,
Is that your understanding, too?
Yeah, I thought the city piece of it would be at the next committee meeting. I remember talking about that, whether it be at council or committee, and my recollection was that we would have it at our next committee meeting, which would be next Monday. And so I would expect to see the beginnings of a plan then. And I know that with Carol, she's trying to work out, the township doesn't even really have a website, so we've got to work out some of the logistics of that, too.
Right, and the
So,
city
yeah.
was supposed to address
Right, yeah. so-
posting her
right,
information.
So I think we should have all of it on next week's committee meeting agenda to begin figuring out exactly what we're going to do. It's not appropriate to take up sort of new, we don't normally take up new stuff at a council meeting. We take up the new stuff at committee meetings every other week.
Even though this was old stuff because it was on the 16th?
Yeah, but not really. When we request something from staff to work on, we request it at the next committee meeting or at the next committee meeting if they got work to do to get it ready. It may take one or two committee meetings before they get to it. But it's my understanding that we've got some stuff going and it should be on the next committee meeting agenda. That's where I would expect to see it.
Okay, I'm asking, is this going to be on next Monday's meeting?
We're going to have a staff meeting tomorrow, and I'll make sure that it is on. How about that?
Thank you.
Heather?
My understanding was also, that was a committee of the whole, so the next meeting is a committee of the whole meeting, and that's when we have a different chair. That's why it's not under new business, because the stuff that came from that meeting is what's on here tonight, because that was committee of whole items that had been discussed. But my understanding was the reason in good faith effort that you displayed to the city was because of the work that had already begun. And I thought that was my understanding from you was the reason.
No, because it was not known until...
Excuse me, point of
it was-
process, but it has, we need you to not interrupt people who are speaking. You interrupted Brandon 2 times earlier this evening, and you now interrupted Heather, and I really want the council members to be able to speak just as you've been able to speak and finish your sentences.
Well, my understanding was that the issue was dropped and not put on as a referendum because there was work already being done by Ron Eldridge and the city to start the work that you were asking to have done. And so those were the 2 points that I raised my hand when I heard you say what you said. It was committee of the whole, and you said that it was a good faith effort, and I thought the good faith effort was because Ron Eldridge had started a process that we would see at the next committee of the whole meeting.
Actually, I agreed to it because of the offer to make a plan, which I had understood was going to be presented tonight. So if, you can assure me that we'll have a plan next week, that's cool.
We may not have a complete plan, but we'll have some work toward it. Okay?
Okay?
Thank you.
And just to understand, you remember, committee stuff, if it's completely ready and we can send it to council, we will. If it's not completely ready, it'll be give and take and questions and be a chance for you to comment on it, too. And it may stay in committee. It might be that staff can fine-tune it and get it ready for council. So there are like 3 different ways that can proceed out of next week's committee meeting.
I have no problem with that as long as I see honest progress so that I don't feel that that I took my referendum off for nothing.
Anyone else want to address the city council? Okay, we'll move on. I don't believe there's any old business. Reports of standing committees, none of that. Reports of special committees, reports of officers. Tom Carino, Economic Development.
And Mayor, I'll give a report
You want to give?
of a special committee.
Oh, I have to do something. Okay.
After Tom
That's
Carino.
reports of officers. I have something too. Okay, Tom, sorry.
I would defer to Councilman Roberts.
What?
Yeah, well, that was my point. Actually, what I'll do is I'll introduce you to announce it, but,
Okay.
okay.
All right. For all you people who were wondering what this trophy is, I've been telling people it was for the biggest attendance at a township meeting, but that is only a joke. Okay, this trophy, this trophy is due to the efforts of Councilman Roberts, Dennis Roberts, who had the concept of a big birthday cake for Urbana in the 4th of July parade. And we have to thank Jim Kelly of Public Works for actually executing this concept. And we had a wonderful float, and Dennis wanted to enter it in the competition for prizes, and I said, oh, no, Dennis, don't do it, you won't win. Well, I was wrong. And Dennis got this wonderful trophy. We came in second. Who came in first, Dennis?
I never found out.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. We did come in second.
Okay,
Oh, the MTD came in first? You're kidding. Okay. There's a story to that.
Yeah, and I would like to just say that actually the MTD staff volunteers helped build the float. They actually executed our float as a tete-a-tete for the city's previous work that the city had provided for them in a previous time. It was quite pleasant. We had a really nice turnout, and in a way, this sort of marks this kind of like a high point for the work that's been done by the birthday committee this year for the celebration of the city's 175th birthday. We're halfway through the year. The next big event that's coming up is tie-ins with the Sweet Corn Festival, and then there probably will be something in the fall as well. But I'd just like to take this time to thank all the people who've been very loyal to and showing up at meetings on Friday at 4 o'clock to plan all the events for the celebration of this year's city's birthday. The float actually was I really didn't think they were going to, actually, I didn't really think they were going to build it, even though I suggested it, because, it's a lot of work and they have things to do. But they really surprised me. It was a very fine float. You're going to be able to see it in the Labor Day parade, I understand. I mean, once you build a float, you might as well use it more than once. And I just really want to thank the committee that's been so loyal, and they show up week after week to provide, events of interest to the community. And this also includes, as part of our celebration, the Urbana Blues Brew and Barbecue event that was held last weekend, and it would turn out to be a wonderful success. And I know that I walked through the crowd, and I would say about 80% of the people who were there were people who loved blues and had come from other communities to Urbana to hear it.
Thank you. Okay, Tom. What else? Lynn.
This Saturday from 9 to 11 that the Ward 7 folks, SUNA group, is going to pull together as many as we can to do our 4th annual Don't Mess with Urbana, which is a cleanup session for a couple hours on Philo Road and around County Market and around Florida Avenue there. So anybody who wants to come, just wear an orange T-shirt and we'll give you gloves. No, bring gloves. We'll give you a bag. And the city folks will be there driving a truck around to pick up any trash that we pick up. So, thank you.
And what time is that?
9 to 11.
Thank you. Okay. Tom?
Thank you. You have before you a hard copy of the Economic Development Report. I apologize, I was not able to send this out electronically prior to the meeting, but I will send it out very early tomorrow morning to everyone electronically. To concentrate a little bit on one specific area, we have a lot of activity downtown. We do have a new piano bar called 88 Broadway that will be opening shortly at Lincoln Square Village. Also at Lincoln Square Village, the Common Ground Food Co-op is preparing for what they're calling a likely opening in August. Also, we have Furniture Lounge is opening a new location downtown on Main Street at 126 West Main, which is the former Brash Flower Shop building. I've been in contact with the new owners of Historic Lincoln Hotel. They have secured the services of an architecture firm who's going through room by room, redesigning the rooms and the furniture in the rooms. Also, they have a preliminary agreement with both a national hotel chain based on improvements, and they also have a preliminary agreement with a regional restaurant chain to locate there. So good news there. And then also, I don't have an exact opening date, but work is continuing on the Morning Cup and More, which is the coffee shop at Stratford. They're moving forward, but again, I don't have an exact opening date. So a lot of activity downtown. I apologize again for not having this to you prior to the meeting, but I will get it out tomorrow morning. And if you have any specific questions now, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Tom. Any other officers have reports? Schneider?
Good evening. Just very briefly on, I wanted to explain a little bit. Next week, we have a proposed amendment to the annual action plan for 2007-2008. It's going to be on for special council because the reason we need it approved next week is we have a timeliness issue with home funds. With HUD, we have until July 31st to commit home funds. And I just wanted to let you know that we have a public hearing relative to that on Tuesday, July 8th at 11 a.m. here in the council chambers. And also in the ordinance, there'll be language allowing the mayor to sign or execute letter of commitment. Because what HUD does is they allow you to have a commitment or they call a legally binding agreement with the recipient in the form of a letter of commitment so that we can at least have it committed so we don't lose the funding. And the way the home program works is similar to CDBG, the home program. You have 2 years to commit the funds with a legally binding agreement, then you have 5 years to spend it. So if we get the money committed by July 31st, then we have another 3 years to spend, and we anticipate that Lakeside is going to be underway in October. So, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, then the next items, A through M, could probably be put together. Danielle?
I move item 1A through 1M in omnibus fashion for approval.
Second?
That was seconded by Lynn Barnes.
We should probably indicate what these are.
These are all about community development block grants and Urbana Home Consortium. Those are the two categories, correct?
There's actually, the first three are public facilities and improvements for the Community Development Block Grant for fiscal year 2008-2009. The next three are public service subrecipient agreements for Community Development Block Grant. Item G is a amendment to an agreement from fiscal year 2007-2008 with the Urban League of Champaign County Development Corporation. And the remaining items are home program for 2008-2009 for the annual action plan implementation.
Okay, are there any questions or is there any discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mr. Bowersox?
Yes.
Ms. Chenoweth?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
That motion carries. Next, we have appointments by the mayor. Urbana Free Library Board, Lynn Wiley, and reappointments.
Yeah, we can do them all at once. Yeah,
Okay, you're making a motion? Okay, Gary Seco, Bicycle and Pedestrian Commission, Community Development Commission, Dennis Fedoni, George Francis, Plan Commission, Jane Burris, and Property Maintenance Code Board of Appeals, Thomas Welch.
Move approval.
Second?
Motion by Smythe, seconded by Barnes. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.